All right, boys and girls, Grant Training Systems, welcome back. Today we have the conversation of the butt wink and why we are having the wrong conversation about it. So let's start with what a butt wink is. A butt wink is slang for our pelvis posteriorly rotating or coming under, kind of like an old man, as we squat down. So what that would look like, oh, and a little caveat here, I've got two cameras, one that I'm looking at right now and a little bad boy in the corner, and I'm gonna be spinning in some circles. I'm trying to get the best angles for everybody, so hopefully it works. If not, comment below, make fun of me, do whatever, but just let me know. All right, so back on track here. A butt wink would then be, as I drop down into a squat, my pelvis comes in. So I drop down like this. I think we can see it better on this camera here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is actually a natural motion of the spine, because when we were with the dinosaurs or back in the days of the hunter and gatherer associations, we didn't have a toilet. We didn't have chairs. We didn't sit and learn and do all these things that we do today in this sophisticated world. So when we sat like this, like many of the Asians still do, some of the hunter and gatherers still do. And if you've ever been to countries like Egypt or hiking anywhere around the mountains or the pyramids, you will notice that many of those Bedouins still do also. I lived in Egypt for 5 years, and those guys also shit in holes. Yes, they don't have toilets. So that means as they drop down, their bum comes under because they got a hole right here, and that's where they go to the bathroom. So before toilets, before chairs, before all of this stuff, the butt wink was a complete natural piece of our movement because it is part of our spinal mechanics. It also allows our femurs, these bad boys right here, to drop deeper into flexion in the deep squat by rotating under and giving them more room to move. So the question or the conversation we need to have is not do we have a butt wink or not, but how much of one do we have? And as we squat down with a load or no load, what should we do differently to make sure we don't hurt ourselves? All right, the first important thing to understand now, and the next keyword, is load. What is a load? When I squat to sit, just like this, like the Bedouins, either chilling or taking a crap, they can sit without a load. Now, I know we're talking about shit and loads here, so it's a bit strange, but a load means weight. So if I've got a bar on my back, if I'm doing a front squat, if I've got a kid, a dog, a baby, an alien, a bag, whatever, anything that is weight above my pelvis as I drop down would be considered a load. And this is important because as we drop down, if we have something in our hands, we need our spine to stay stabilized. And if we just allow this anterior or this posterior rotation, our pelvis to drop forward, we lose the tension in our spine. So the conversation is not the butt wink. The conversation is what can we do to make sure it's not too much of a posterior rotation and to keep the tension as we drop down. So that's simple. As I drop down with this load, I have nothing right now, so we're just going to pretend I have one. And my pelvis wants to posterior rotate. So remember, boys and girls, that means turn under. I'm going to then counteract that with my muscles, and I'm going to pull it back out. The minute you realize you go from kind of like electricity off to tension on, you're gonna feel here and here and here, this tension that gives you stability in your pelvis and hips. That is number one. That's the first thing we wanna do. As we drop down, even if you do have too much of a butt wink, you still wanna keep that tension in there because that's gonna keep the balance and the neutrality and the safety in your spine and your hips. The second thing is how much do we really have? Now, let's go over 3 of the big mistakes that we see within the range of motion that cause all the problems. All right, so problem number 1 is the tight Achilles. And so that is the muscle in the back of your heel. What happens is as you drop down, you go into this foot out position that we like to call duck feet. So you see these people when they squat, they drop down and they automatically turn out like this. But unfortunately, usually also what happens is they collapse at the ankle also because the Achilles attaches a little bit on the medial side and it likes to pull that ankle in. So if that is what's happening, not a problem. It is a problem, but it's a problem we can fix. So what you're gonna wanna do, and again, we've got both of these cameras going on here, so I'm gonna do it in all these different angles so we see what's going on, is we're gonna wanna line the foot and the knee up, Put the hand on the knee, lean forward a little bit because we want, remember, we should have 10 centimeters of our knee clearing over our toe, which if you have this duck foot position, you definitely don't, so don't worry about that. And then we just want to push a little bit down this direction so we feel the stretch here. Now something cool we can do in this to mimic the squat even more is move that leg out like this and then push down here, or even hold the ankle and start pushing out like this. So I will switch feet here for the wonderful dual camera action going on here. And we will see again that I change. My toes lined up with my knee. I go into the first stretch here, which I'm able to feel on the inside, which you cannot see in that camera. And then from here, I like to move my knee out, hold the ankle down, and even kind of play with the position of the knee, because we know in a proper squat, we have an angled shin a little bit, yeah? So from here, I can really mimic the exact squat position that I want to really start opening up the ankle to prevent me from having this duck foot position, collapsing ankle that also puts a lot of pressure on the inside of our knee. So the next problem we're gonna see is we're gonna drop down, and once we get the ankles fixed, you're gonna see that we're gonna collapse at the hips and also the upper back. So this one's quite simple. I would suggest doing some type of hip flexor stretch. We're gonna skip along with that one. I'll put a link down below to some really good ones, not only for the hip flexor, but also the iliacus. But now we need to do a back stretch that allows us to get into this position. So I'm gonna throw a little tip on top, and we're gonna start actually with the hip capsule first. One of my favorite stretches is foot goes here, in a neutral position. I don't wanna break at the ankle. So from here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sit as straight as I can. If sitting straight is not possible, don't worry, you can also lean back. And from here, the goal is to keep this part as straight as possible, but get the knee down as far as possible. So many people can probably already get it on their heel. That's perfect. You're not gonna have an issue with your hip capsule, that's for sure. Me, I cannot. And from here, I like to also straighten the spine and just really kind of work on rocking back and forth and feeling that open up in the back of the hip capsule. That will give me more room in order to kind of sit back in that squat. So this is a little tip on top for your hip flexor or for your hip capsule. The other one is gonna be for your spine. From here, what we wanna do with the spine is we wanna reach as far forward as possible. I think you can see me pretty good here. I'll even change my angle. And we wanna pull just like this. So from here, what I'm doing is I'm basically attaching my hand to the ground and I'm pulling my hips back. So I really get a little piece of traction right here. You can curl your butt under if you want. You can curl it back out. You can play around with it, see which one is tight on you. And then you can put both out like this and really pull forward. Again, sometimes with the butt in the air, sometimes with the butt pulled under. We like to call the butt in the air the stripper stretch, funny enough. I'm not gonna say why. And when we pull it under, we like to call it the dog pooing stretch. So give both a shot because it might be different which one you feel the tightness in. But that will bring us into the last and final stretch that kind of accumulates everything together. All right, the last one is a bit of a doozy and I love it because it really brings everything together. So what you're gonna do, boys and girls, here is you're gonna grab your toes just like this and you're gonna slowly start to drop down, but you're gonna keep tension under your hands just like this. You don't have to bounce them down like a monkey like me. I just wanted to make sure you could see what I was doing. And then from here, with the tension under my toes and my hands, this gives my body the torque it needs to create the tension, I keep saying tension here, to allow me to hold this position and really work on straightening that spine. So not collapse at the mid spine area, but really working on getting those hips to sit back in the capsule. That was the stretch we did before, and my spine to stay straight. And from this position, you can play with the knees, you can try to push one out, you can just really get creative and play with the movement and really just try to open everything up. All right, so guys, if you enjoyed the video, definitely like, comment, share, subscribe, smash that bell up top so you get all the reminders every time I put a video out. And if you want to follow my other socials and get a really cool free lifestyle program with over 20 private videos and PDFs on sleep and nutrition and everything else, go to my website, gtsgermany.com, and sign up for the newsletter. Or go on my Instagram, also GTS Germany, and hit the free download link and get the download. So guys, socials, I'm there. I hope you are. I miss you. I love you. Let's continue. Until next week, peace.